Alright guys, I got a super overdue video for you today. We're going to be looking at the Mystery Ranch Urban Assault 24 liter. I've had this for a little while now. I've taken it through a couple airports, used it as a classroom backpack, and I've got some thoughts that I want to share with you on it, and then we'll go over the features, hopefully in a relatively quick and easy to swallow format, because I know some of the other videos out there are very, very thorough. And perhaps you don't have 20 minutes to watch one of those right now. Alright, so as we go through the features on this Mystery Ranch Urban Assault 24 liter, here's the big one that has been getting talked about a lot. So I've got the pack standing up right now, and it does not. Alright, the bottom of the pack is reinforced and shaped, and the pack frame sits, or the frame sheet sits in a way that to get it to stand up, you really got to lean it back against something, and it's got a pretty fine balancing point there. So if that's something that's important to you, it's something to be considerate of, because it is a little bit annoying. I didn't really buy that would be that bad in person, but it's pretty awful. You got to lean it pretty heavily. All right, so. Looking at the outside of this thing, it's the tri-zip design that Mystery Ranch is known for. It's got the top pocket on the backpack just like all their other bags, and it's very similar in size. Alright, so it's nothing too far out there if you have any experience with Mystery Ranch. So with that said, if Mystery Ranch hasn't worked for you in the past, this one probably also will not work for you. So the tri-zip design is kind of take it or leave it. Right. Looking at the water bottle pockets on the outside of this thing, they're not stretchy at all. All right, they have a little bit of a bellow built into them, so you're not completely using the internal volume of the pack, but it does kind of go half and half. All right, if you've got the bag completely full, you're not going to get anything in the bottle pocket. And I did find that a little annoying. So you kind of got to get your bottles in there and then pack it and then hope nothing shifts once you start using it. But it will fit a smart water bottle or a 20-ounce Hydro Flask. All right, so it fits a decent sized bottle, nothing huge, but it's big enough. The shoulder straps and the portion up against your back, this backpack is incredibly comfortable. I can't lie about that at all. Alright, so as long as you're not setting this thing down, trying to balance it anywhere, it is an awesome, awesome backpack. It's got plenty of padding here, and it does have a really nice frame sheet in it, even though that kind of works against you when you're trying to stand this thing up. The shoulder straps have a really nice padding in them. They also have a super comfortable 3D spacer mesh here. So it doesn't catch your clothing. It's not rough or anything like that. It's very smooth, and it's relatively cool. You don't get super hot wearing this thing. It has functional load lifters, which is pretty cool on a backpack this size. So if you have this thing full of a bunch of tech products that can get kind of heavy, plus you got some water bottles or something like that, the load lifters actually work very well. You have a pretty standard carry handle up here, nothing to write home about, but at the same time, nothing wrong with it. And then, just in case it's not clear, there is no provision for a waist belt on here, but I never really felt like I needed it. Alright, looking at the top pocket here, it's a very standard size as far as Mystery Ranch stuff goes. You can absolutely fit, charging cables, and then your little loose odds and ends. Right. It's if you had the old Urban Assault, it's the exact same size. If you've had their 3-day, very, very similar. Sometimes they go up in size just a little bit, sometimes they go down in size. You have a dedicated laptop sleeve. Right, so this is different from the original Urban Assault. And I think it's a pretty good feature on this, because with the tri-zip design, it's not a real top loader in my experience with Mystery Ranch stuff. So if you had a laptop up against your back in the old Urban Assault, it is a little tricky to make sure that space stayed open for the laptop, especially if you don't have pre-check. But this laptop sleeve is very nice. All right, so you've got kind of an open area away from your back that'll fit folders really well. I've got a surface in the OtterBox case that fits just fine in this sleeve, and then you've got kind of this other sleeve here, so I put a magazine down there. Right, so in total you have kind of 3 sleeves here. You've got the padded portion that's closest to your back, you've got a half padded portion due to the front of that, and then you've got just the rest of the pocket. The rest of the pocket again works for folders, but I don't know if you'd want to put anything loose in there, because the laptop pocket's just kind of floating in there, and I think stuff will ride really goofy if you try to do anything that's not like a paper product or magazine or maybe a small book in this portion. All right, basically just keep it to your laptop and then whatever paperwork you have. The laptop pocket is also floating in there. All right, so you can get stuff worked under it. I don't know how to describe it, and it's tough to get a picture of that, but it's a little weird, so just be careful what you're putting in there. But laptops fit no problem. And then looking at the main portion of this thing, so it's your normal Mr. Ranch tri-zip. And then you've got a pocket layout that's mirrored on both sides here. So you've got this little pocket up top, which the old Urban Assault had as well. It is a little bit of a goofy pocket. So what I ended up using it for is I put my car keys in one side so that I didn't lose them. I always stress that when I fly, is it's the last thing to get packed, and I don't want it to fall all the way to the bottom of my bag. So it worked pretty well for that. And then the other side, I kept a USB cable and a wall adapter, which I thought was a pretty good usage of this pocket. It didn't fill it, but it kept it up towards the top of the main body of the pack and kept the top pocket open for maybe loose stuff that I didn't want spilling out in the airport or whatnot. It's got this long sleeve pocket here. I don't know what the intent of this is. It would make an alright umbrella pocket, I guess. I'm not really an umbrella guy, but I think that would fit in there pretty well. What I did put in there though was just a scarf. Right? Again, it's mirrored on the other side, so I just did my little first aid pocket. You've seen this in other videos, and that fits in there pretty well as well. And we've got some assorted odds and ends that I had. So I had a jacket, I had an airline blanket in there, my power cable and mouse for my laptop, so there wasn't really a great spot for this to go elsewhere in the bag. The top pocket would fit those pretty well, or you just kind of dump them in there, right? So maybe I'll get like a dop bag or something to hold the rest of the stuff in so it doesn't swim all over the pack, but just kind of had them tossed in there for the flight. And then the last thing to talk about here is you've got this kind of admin pocket type setup here. Right, so the on the front face of this thing you have 4 sewn in pockets. You've got 2 larger ones and then 2 pen loops in the middle. Now your larger pockets here, they would fit a mouse or the power cable, and they're kind of all right there. They also fit an eyeglass case, not like a full-blown Oakley case or something like that, but for reading glasses, I had those tucked in there, and that was a pretty good spot for them because it kept them visible from the top. Right. The pen pockets will fit basically any pen you want. They're a little short, so if you've got something, a longer pen, that might be a little bit of a concern, that when you're trying to load other stuff in here, you snag it and perhaps break your pen. Alright, so I don't necessarily recommend using the pocket clip. I would just tuck that all the way in there. There's a zippered pocket here, which is alright for boarding passes or something like that, but a little bit of a challenge to get into if you've got this thing loaded. It is very, very flat though. Alright, so short of papers, I don't know what you would put in there. And then there's also another sleeve pocket here. So it'll fit an iPad Pro, no problem. You could do a magazine in there, a bunch of things. I think it's really odd how many flat pockets are in this backpack. I don't know, unless you're traveling with like 5 magazines and you don't want any of them to touch, it's a little goofy. But that's that. All right. Perhaps give you a better look inside this thing. So just to recap, top pocket, laptop sleeve, 2 kind of floating pockets here. These are sewn down. All right, so there's not a pass-through, not that you would really want them. And then these 2 long sleeve type pockets, maybe umbrella pockets. You could also maybe do a water bottle inside your bag. I had that thought when I first opened this thing. I'm not really sure why you would want to do that. Unless you didn't want to risk anything falling out, maybe put your umbrella on the outside and you knew you weren't going to be thirsty until you got to the office or something like that. Okay. So, is it a good pack? Yeah, I think it's a very good pack. I think it's priced pretty fairly, especially if you're getting any kind of deals or you're watching for a sale price or something like that. If you can get this thing for around $100, I think that's a win. Full MSRP. It's definitely better than some of the competitors at that price point, but is it totally worth it? I don't know. In all honesty, that darn JanSport Javelina that I reviewed is still my favorite carry-on because it's just so easy to use, and the few dedicated pockets that it has are perfectly sized for what I want there. So I'm a little biased towards that pack, but it definitely holds enough for a carry-on or like an office bag, but it is definitely not like a one bag type setup. I feel like for being 24 liters, it's kind of wasted space, and you can kind of fit too much for just a carry-on and not nearly enough to avoid checking a bag or something like that. It's kind of a weird in-between size. I definitely think it's better than the 18 liter. It's totally an improvement over that, or the 21 liter. But I'm kind of torn on the overall value of this. So I'll give it a couple more trips and see how it works. But I don't think this will be my forever carry-on. Right. I appreciate your time, guys. Hopefully I can get caught up on videos here because I got a lot that I want to do, and I've been pretty far behind. But I appreciate you guys watching. I've been getting a little bit more comments on the channel, so thank you for that. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys got. Thanks.